What's going on YouTube? Your boy Young Mustard is back, and we are here with another one of my season ending videos. And as you can see by the title, we are going to be talking about the top 4 underrated players of the 2020 NBA season. Now I know a lot of people are probably going to have their own opinions on who should have been on this list and who shouldn't have been on this list, but let me know down below in the comment section. And don't forget, we will get to the comment of the day at the end of the video, so maybe your comment will be read in my next video where I will be talking about the top 4 overrated players of the 2020 NBA season. And I know that's going to be a very controversial video, so stay tuned for that. But without further ado, make sure you drop a like down below so I can keep making fire content. Follow me on Twitter. All of my social media links are in the description box, as well as Snapchat and Instagram. And make sure you hit that subscribe button and the bell to be notified after each and every single video that I post. But without further ado, let's start off with number 4. Coming in at number 4, we have the one and only Collin Sexton. People forget that Collin Sexton was a top 10 pick in his respective draft class, and a lot of people called him the next Russell Westbrook. Now I'm not going to go that far when it comes to how great Collin Sexton is or can be, but when you look at the numbers that Collin Sexton put up this past season, they're relatively impressive. This year he averaged 20 points, also 3 assists and 3 rebounds, while shooting 47% from the field, 38% from 3, and around 85% from the free throw line. And honestly, those numbers don't do it justice to how good Collin Sexton played, primarily during the second half of the season, because in the first 33 games, Collin Sexton was abysmal. He was averaging 18 points, but he was also shooting 27% from 3 on 3 attempts a game. But I gotta be honest with you guys, when you look at what he did in the second half of the season, it has impressed me. And I am not the biggest fan of Collin Sexton. The only reason I'm putting him in this video is because it was brought to my attention a few days ago by my friend Darius, who I will be starting a podcast with, that Collin Sexton has actually been playing well, because in the second half of the season, basically throughout 2020, he has averaged 24 points, 4 assists and 3 rebounds, while shooting 49% from the field, 45% from 3 on nearly 5 attempts a game, as well as 87% from the free throw line. And when it comes to his defense, I didn't really know how great he was on the defensive side of the ball, but a lot of people have told me that he's relatively decent. He's not bad, he's not a liability or anything, so that's definitely a plus when you have a guy like Darius Garland in the backcourt, who, I gotta be honest, he has been a huge disappointment this year, but Collin Sexton has been a very pleasant surprise for the Cleveland Cavaliers, and he's been one of the more underrated players of this season, because I was even sleeping on him. Shout out to my boy Darius for putting me on, because I really didn't know Collin Sexton was having such a great year, primarily during the second half of the season. But moving on to player number 3, we have Jonathan Isaac. Jonathan Isaac was definitely one of the more overlooked players in the NBA. Before he went down due to his injury, I gotta be honest, he was my pick for the defensive player of the year. And it's kind of sad that he's not gonna get that recognition, probably won't even get an All-NBA defensive team selection, primarily due to the fact that he only played 32 games and missed 2 months of the season due to his knee injury. But looking at the numbers that he put up this past season, he averaged 12 points, around 7 rebounds, as well as around 2 steals and 2 blocks, while shooting 46% from the field, 33% from 3, and around 77% from the free throw line. And what has made this season so special for Jonathan Isaac is because when you compare his numbers to his previous years in the NBA, such as his sophomore year and his rookie year, you can see the increase in production of his game, because it's not just the points per game and the rebounds or steals and blocks that are going up. His efficiency is also getting better as well, because it shows that he's actually improving in his game and his numbers aren't just going up due to a higher usage. And I gotta be honest with you guys, he was definitely a candidate for the most improved player of the year before he went down with his knee injury. Because if I'm being honest here, most improved player should not just pertain to offense, even though I know that's how people are going to judge the award anyway, but it shouldn't be like that, because he has improved defensively by a huge mile. He went from being one of the better defenders at his position to being arguably the best defender in the league. And with more improvement to his offensive game, I could definitely see him taking that leap next year to becoming one of the better two-way players in the NBA. But moving on to player number 2, we have Bogdan Bogdanovic. Bogdan Bogdanovic has definitely been one of the more underrated players, not just this season, but of previous seasons in the past. This year, he's averaging well over 20 points a game, while shooting around 45% from the field, 41% from 3 on well over 7 attempts a game, and also shooting 91% from the free throw line. This guy is literally a 20-point per game scorer, and absolutely nobody talks about his contributions to the Utah Jazz. Usually when you hear about the Utah Jazz, you hear about Donovan Mitchell and also Rudy Gobert. And even when Jordan Clarkson got traded there, a lot of people were talking about his impact towards the team as well. And I'm not trying to take anything away from those players. They obviously contribute in major ways towards the team's success, but we have to give credit to Bogdan Bogdanovic as well, because over the past couple of years, what have the Utah Jazz struggled in? Offense. They have struggled to give Donovan Mitchell a second option that is consistent, because Ricky Rubio was not going to be that. So they brought in Mike Conley, and obviously I don't know if it's injuries or just old age catching up to him. It doesn't look like he's going to be that for this team. So Bojan's contributions have been a huge help for Donovan Mitchell, because just imagine if he was just a normal 15-point per game scorer. Donovan Mitchell would have had to do so much in order to help this team push into playoff contention, and just like that, they would be back at square one where they started in the offseason last year, trying to get Donovan Mitchell more offensive help that is consistent and reliable. So Bojan's impact cannot be overlooked, because the Utah Jazz, let's not forget, they are the 4th seed in the Western Conference, and obviously contributions from Donovan Mitchell on the offensive side of the ball and being an all-star for the first time in his career, as well as Rudy Gobert's elite interior defense, has definitely been the two main factors of the Utah Jazz success. But you cannot overlook Bojan's contributions, because without it, they'd be a for sure first round exit, just like last year where they lost to the Houston Rockets. But let's move on to player number 1. Yes, it is time to reveal the most underrated player of the 2020 NBA season. And if you've seen the thumbnail, you see the hashtags, you know I am going with my boy Jaylen Brown. Now, for those who do not know, I hate the Boston Celtics. I am not a fan of this team. I cannot stand Danny Ainge being praised as all hell. I cannot stand those green colors. They've just pissed me off. But I have to give credit where credit is due. And Jaylen Brown this year has been so overlooked, and it has been criminal how disrespected he is. This year he is averaging 20 points as well as 6 rebounds and 2 assists and a steal, while shooting 49% from the field, 38% from 3, and also around 74% from the free throw line. He is not only averaging a career high in points, but he's also doing it in assists, rebounds, field goal percentage, 3-point percentage, and free throw percentage. Not only is he a candidate for the most improved player of this season, but he arguably should have been an all-star. And with the way that people were slandering him online when the Celtics gave him his 4-year, $107 million extension this past offseason, I definitely need to see that kind of energy now when he's actually performing up to that contract, because everybody got on him last year for being so inconsistent, but this year I'm seeing levels of consistency that he's never shown before in his career. As a finisher, he's one of the best in the league. As a 3-point shooter, he has improved to almost elite status. And when it comes to his free throw shooting, it's not great by any means, but it is still a noticeable improvement. And that's all you can ask from a lot of these young players in the NBA, because if we're being honest here, a lot of them just don't try, and a lot of them don't care to get better. For example, just look at Andrew Wiggins. But when you look at a guy like Jaylen Brown, you can see the intangibles and the determination and the work ethic and just how he plays. You can feel it. And I haven't even mentioned how good he is on the defensive side of the ball, because he is one of the better two-way players in the league and has been a big factor as to why the Boston Celtics are one of the best defensive teams in the NBA and currently ranked 4th in defensive rating. So even though Jason Tatum is having a breakout season and looks like he's going to be a superstar if he is not one already, and also Kemba Walker is having a pretty solid year and was an all-star starter, don't let that distract you from the fact that Jaylen Brown was a borderline all-star this year and has put himself in the conversation among the top 20 to 25 players in the NBA and one of the best two-way wings in the league as well. But that concludes this video. Let's get on to the top 3 comments from my last video, the comments of the day. Yes, it is time. If you want me to read your own comment, make sure you drop a comment down below, and who knows, maybe your comment will be read in my next video. But looking at the first comment, we have it from DCoolFuture99. He said, as a Sixers fan, I totally agree that Brett Brown needs to go. For real. Yeah, this guy is garbage. He sucks. He's so basic of a coach, and he does not need to be coaching that team. But moving on to Moneybag Tommy, he said the most disappointing player was Mike Conley. I gotta be honest, I completely forgot about Mike Conley when I was making my disappointments of the 2020 NBA season. He is definitely among the top disappointments of this past year. But the third and final comment is from Abaddon Frazier, and he said, Mustard, when you went on your boiling rant, I thought I was watching a Rusty Buckets video for a sec. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Rusty Buckets, I feel your pain when you talk about the Bulls, bro. There's so much potential on our roster, but this dude Jim Boylen is such a clown that he just tries to sabotage it. I don't know why. Maybe he's an inside job for another team. Who knows? But that concludes this video, you guys. Make sure you follow me on Twitter and on Instagram. All my social media links are in the description down below. Stay safe and remember to wash your hands. It's your boy Young Mustard signing out. Peace.